So now you have DQ for Excel installed, we're going to look at some of the fundamentals of the application and walk through a simple use case example. So if we look first at this DQ for Excel home button, we can see we have a version number, we have a link to the wiki, which will give us further information if you have any thoughts or questions. We have a support portal where you can click on and also submit any support tickets that you might have, or if you're facing any issues. And finally, we have a shop where if you run out of your 1,000 free credits and you'd like to top up to perform more functions, you can click on here and top up your packs through the account that you've registered through. That's the home settings. The account will be used for your login, which we covered in the last video. Next we have our balance, which will tell us how many credits we have remaining. At the minute, this one's an unlimited account, but you would see the number of credits and you could actually top up, which would take you to the shop. We can look at our usage throughout a date period. So if I just do get usage here, you can see the functions that I've called, and you can see which functions and the number of functions. Next, we'll look at a pricing table for all of the functions that you might want to call in the app, and that comes out in a table. If we go back, and then we have some default settings, which we'll cover in another video. Then we get to a part where we're actually able to start calling the functions in the app. And we have some functions which are specific to entities like email address, phone, company, or people. And then we have some specific actions that you might want to perform on the data. I'm going to use one as an example, which will hopefully give you an idea of how the application works. And what I've done is I've used data here where we might have non-standardized country information. So what we're going to do is try and derive a standardized country. So we want to derive the country, we want to derive the ISO 2, that's a 2-character value for the country. We've got an ISO 3, which is 3 characters, and we could also derive a dialing code for these non-standardized countries. So what we're going to do is we'll go to derive country, and you'll see that you get the pop-up on this right-hand side, and we're going to put some inputs in. So we've decided we want to derive a country. In this instance, I've returned only the best result. I've got my input is going to be these values from A2 to A8, and I will map those in with this clicking range finger. Click that in, and then I want to focus on my outputs. And the outputs I have are going to be mapped to the specific fields on the right-hand side. So for country derived, we've got B2 through to B8. And you can see what I've done. If I unmap this, I map this out in a table range. This is where you want your output to go. And I've done exactly the same for the ISO 2, ISO 3, and the dialing code. So I've selected the range and then mapped that in where I want the output to go. Once you're happy with the output, you can then derive. So I click here, spend my credits, and what you will see is I could take USA, United States of America, and United States, and it will standardize the country, give me the ISO 2, ISO 3, and the dialing code, and it will do exactly the same for the UK, United Kingdom, England, GBR, and give you that standardized result. So those functions are fairly generic across the app. If you were to take format as an example and format an email, you're going to get exactly the same function bar on the right-hand side, where you can actually map in your emails on whatever column range that would be, and you'd output your values into the output column range, and then you could run that. So once you're able to perform these functions, you should be able to use all of these actions and entity functions in the app.